Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Innal hamdalillahi wa syukra lillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. La haula wa la quwwata illa billah. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Allahumma 'allimna ma yanfa'una wanfa'na bima 'allamtana warzuqna fahma. And welcome back to our program, My American Jihad, with me, Imam Shamsi Ali. In today's episode, I would like still to continue talking about moderation in Al-Islam, because truly this is one of the most important jihad for us Muslims in America. In our attempt and try to convince our neighbors, our friends, that Islam truly is a moderate teaching, and that is the opposite. It is an antithesis of those who say that Islam is radicalism. And in the last few episodes, we have talked about the characteristic of moderation in Islam. Among those characteristics are al-adala, and that is justice, at-tawazun, that is being balanced, but also as-samha, being tolerant. Today, I'm going to talk about one of the most important characteristics of that moderation in Islam, and that is al-islah. The word al-islah came from salaha yaslahu, sulhun wa silahun, or salah. But then the word salah is not only meaning goodness, but also it means salahun, it means bringing goodness, create goodness. In other words, that moderation in Islam always produces what is good for our society. And that is the very opposite of extremism. As Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Iyyakum wal ghulu, fa innal ghuluwa yahdi ila tahluka." Be careful of being extremist. Be careful of being radical, because extremism or radicalism leads to self-destruction. Many destruction happens in the world today, war and killings, and different abuses happens in humans' life because of that extremism. And so moderation in Al-Islam is bringing al-islah, goodness, in ourselves, in our neighbors, in our society. And therefore, if you see the Holy Quran and the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in many places, you will find that Islam is about a goodness. In urida illa al-islah. Prophet Salih alayhi salatu wasalam told his people that I am coming to you and I don't have any intention but to bring goodness for you. And therefore, moderate Muslims, and I'm sure Muslims must be moderate, wherever they are and whenever they are going to create goodness for the community and their society. And we American Muslims are living proof for that. Any Muslim community, you will see that the crimes are becoming less and less. you will see that peace occurs. You will see that community is growing. One of the Muslim community here in New York City is Jamaica Muslim Center, for example. Well, you see in the past, this area is relatively not safe. But the moment the communities are moving, building a mosque or masjid, creating community, the business is growing. Buying a house around, renting apartments. And we have a tremendously great relation with officials, either it is politicians or even law enforcement, with the police department, for example. And all these are a part of that islah that we are bringing into our moderate character, our moderation, brings goodness to our life. Because by being moderate, we establish a just and balanced life to ourselves. So we don't have to force ourselves into a life system that is basically oppressing our own selves. What does it mean, oppressing our own selves? Many people are doing things that they are oppressing themselves. Number one, because committing sins and different mistakes in life is a part of zulm. The Holy Quran mentioned that commitment, people who commit sins, basically they are oppressing themselves. They are doing zulm against themselves. Why is zulm? Because sin is something that we don't like. And the moment we're involved, it means that we are imposing something that we don't like on ourselves. No one likes to lie, basically. People don't like lies. But why then people are still lying? Because they are doing oppression against themselves. When the people are moderate in their life, they are going to bring goodness for their own personal life. They eat only healthy and halal. They drink healthy and halal. Because the moment you drink and eat halal, which is not halal and not healthy at the same time, it means that you are bringing danger and threat to your own life. It is not sulh or goodness to your life. So again, this is one of the most important characteristics of moderation, that we bring goodness to. The next one is that moderation in Islam also means that we must establish what we call shura in our life. What is shura? It's called mutual consultation. In every aspect of our life, in the family life, for example, the husband and wife, between a husband and wife, anything that you want to decide at home, you are supposedly to decide it by both agreements of husband and wife. And that's what we call mutual agreement or mutual consultation in Islam. What's called ashura in Islam. Now, when it comes to the public life, governmental life, for example, we see that Islam is about mutual consultation. So the government consult their people. And that's what democracy in Islam is. Of course, we have our own interpretation. What does it mean to be democratic? America follows what we call liberal democracy. But when it comes to Islam, we have Islamic democracy. What does it mean, Islamic democracy? Democracy means that you consult your people, but it doesn't mean that the truth is determined by the majority, because sometimes the majority do not follow the truth. So what we follow in Islam, follow the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For example, according to the democracy, when you decide on something with majority, it doesn't mean that you can make alcohol halal, for example, simply because the majority of people say it's halal. It is still halal. My point here, that moderation in Islam requires consultation in every aspect of our human's life, with our family, with our neighbors, without government, without all these requires democracy, our shura in our life. Brothers and sisters, this is the third thing of moderation and al-Islam. Certainly, the next one is what we call al-Qudwah. What is al-Qudwah? Al-Qudwah means, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ. Of Qudwah in the Quran is Uswa. It means role model. Now this ummah, as being as a moderate ummah, must be the role model for other nations, for other communities. Why? Because this ummah had been made as the best. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. You have been evolved, you have been born, you have been created for people as the best nation. Because we are the best, it means that we must be the role model for other communities around us. Unfortunately, we are losing that position as a role model. Supposedly the people are looking at us. They look at us as a role model in every aspect of human's life, politically, economically, financially, educationally, socially, and of course religiously. We have to be the role model for our people around us, because that is the meaning of moderation in al-Islam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he came Medina al-Munawwara, he had become the role model for his own Sahaba. But not only for his Sahaba, he had become a role model for other people and other communities around. And oftentimes, those who don't believe in him, those who rejected him very strongly, when they came back to their people, they talk about the character of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had been the role model for them. Similarly, this ummah being as the continuity of the of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that we have to be the role model, must be the role model for other communities. We are supposedly to be the best as a community in our economic life. That whenever we are establishing economy, people are coming and see and watch and say, no, Muslims are doing the best economy. Muslims are doing the best business. Muslims are doing the best, whatever it might be you call it. When we are involved in politics, people are going to see us that we are best in our political activity. Our politics is not only to become powerful and then we abuse the people, but politics for us is to serve the people. That's what we have to do. So my point here, that among the characteristic of moderation in al-Islam is that we have to be the role model. And we, as Muslim American and American Muslims, must struggle to be the best in all aspects of American life. We must push our community to be the best community. We must push our children to be the best in their schools. We must push our politicians to be the best politicians. We want to see our educator to be the best educator ever. When you are a teacher, be the best teacher. When you are a professor, be the best professor. When you are a businessman, be the best businessman. Because you are supposedly to be a role model in our society. As a part characteristics of the moderate ummatan wasatan. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونَ الشُّهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهِيدًا. And so, my brothers and sisters, at the end, once again, it is paramount important that we struggle. And the meaning of struggling in language, we do jihad. We must do jihad in showing our neighbors that Islam is about moderation. Islam is about consultation. We consult our people. We are not dictator on any single matter in our life. We consult people around. We consult our children, consult our family. We consult our neighbors in every single thing that we do in life. But also importantly, we must be the role model in our life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to guide us and strengthen our faith. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open our minds and our hearts to the truth. And may our friends and our neighbors also open their minds and their heart to the truth of Islam, and they can see that Islam is not what they think about, but Islam is so beautiful, so powerful, so attractive, and they can, inshallah, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, accept the truth. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
iTV, Call of Peace, Save Humanity.